The following is a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network.
Welcome back to another week, another episode of Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network. And guess what? You're inside the Bambino studio. That's right. Bambino's my favorite Italian spot here in the Springfield area. Go check them out. My man Andy over there is doing good things. We got a big announcement at the end of the show. We're going to tie in Bambino's. But right now, we're just the two of us. Just the two of us. We can make it if you try, just the two of us. That's right, big fella, you and I. It's me and the legendary Guy Newcomb, scoreboard guy. We're missing the Coach DA. He's out on a little sabbatical. Let's just say that, a day sabbatical. He'll be back. Big fella, big guy, talk to me. What's up, baby?
Oh, nothing, man. It's a dog-eat-dog world out there, and I feel like I'm wearing milk-bone underwear right now, but it has been a good day. It's been awfully warm, but hey, it's getting ready to break, and it's getting ready for some high school football, some college football, some NFL football, and MLB playoffs. I'm excited.
Hey, brother, I'm excited for you. Looking good, big fella. You lost a couple pounds, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Talk to me.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down almost 40.
Wow.
Since I began about 3 months ago, and so I'm feeling pretty good. And doing a lot of good things, and it's been healthy for me, I think.
Good, and if I could quote the great Frank White, the Big Hurt, and the women like it too. The big fellas getting mobile around here. Hey, we want to thank y'all for listening in to Huddle Up. Hey, we're gonna just jump into some things. We got a lot to cover today. Like he said, with high school football starting up tomorrow and college football starting up this weekend. So hey. But we're going to talk about what we always start off talking about, which is the Cardinals and how bad we are and how pathetic we've been and how we'll be in last place and how Marmol might have to go. And we just got to figure out a Mosaic. Maybe it's his last go-around next year. But we're still drawing fans. Tell me about that. How's that happening up in St. Louis?
Well, I don't know. It's Cardinals. They're gonna sell too many tickets before the gates open in April. Yeah. They're at 2.6 million. They sold 3.5 million, a year ago at St. Louis, and that's how it's going to have to happen to make some changes in the leadership. Is people are just going to have to stop buying tickets, and we'll see what happens in the off season. But they're 16 games under 500 right now, in danger of finishing last in the division for the first time since 1990. They can't pitch it. Goldschmidt's having a down year. Arenado's having a down year. They can't stay healthy on the mound. But I'm ready for some changes. I'm ready to get to the dadgum off season right now and just see what happens.
Yeah, it's a little bit embarrassing being a lifelong Cardinal fan and born and raised in the city of St. Louis. It's just a little bit embarrassing trying to see this. But, just watching this happen, and Wainwright pitched okay into the 5th inning yesterday, and then a little bunt here, a little ground ball here, and next thing you know, we just can't overcome those things. But I'll be up there next Wednesday with the Pirates sitting right behind home plate. So if you see a big, black, handsome fella, that'll be me right behind home plate, waving and acting a fool. But let's not forget what we got going on the other side of the state. They got a young fella over there in Kansas City that's kind of making waves over there. And from what I hear, might be putting himself in the Royals record book, big fella.
Yeah, he's got his 25th home run on the August 22nd. He's got 37 stolen bases. He's 6th in the league in stolen bases. He's top 25 in home runs, RBIs, batting average, all the way up and down. But if he gets to that 30-30, he'll be the first Royal ever to join the 30-30 club. And with his 25th home run, he's only the 5th shortstop in Major League Baseball history to hit 25 home runs and steal 35 bases. And you've got to go back to guys like Rodriguez, did it. A-Rod, he did it. Barry Larkin was the first to do it, I believe. But, you'd look at those numbers, and this is a guy that's still making league minimum at $745,000. His arbitration year is not till 2025. I think the Royals would be better served to go out in the offseason and sign him to a big contract, try and keep him, similar to what the Cardinals did prior to Albert Pujols' arbitration year. But he's having a tremendous season, and he just, number one, he can fly. I don't know if you saw the inside the park home run that he hit about 10 days ago. Fastest time around the bases in 12 years at 14.3 seconds to circle the bases.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Bobby DeWitt Jr. I think I might have been right about 14.7, 14.8. No, that might have been going to first base. But, yeah, fantastic year. I mean, both the Cardinals and the Royals are kind of searching for some identities. But I do think next year I saw some signs with the Wynn kid coming up to St. Louis, and I think he can only get 145 bats. With him with Walker, we'll figure out with O'Neill. We're pretty solid on the corners. And I like Edman if he could play that second base. I mean, so I'm excited if the Cardinals get some pitching, what we can do. Long as we stay healthy, and I'll tell you what, because here's how important your health is. There's a guy out in California who just had a tear. And from what I understand, Shohei Ohtani, this could cost him a significant amount of money. What did you hear, big fella?
Well, as you look at that, I mean, this was good. This was his free agent year. And there were guys, major league agents, professional agents throwing out numbers that are not his agent, but they were talking about this could be a $600 million contract, for Shohei Ohtani. He's the MVP, and he's likely going to get the MVP this year, but he comes out with a UCL tear, which is going to require Tommy John surgery in the offseason. However, he's going to finish this year as the DH because that UCL tear does not affect his hitting until he has surgery. Once he has that surgery in the offseason, you're looking at a year of recovery, which will keep him from hitting also. So he's going to be sitting out a year, and he may have cost himself, a $250 million. I mean, and it may be maybe baseball, the owners are looking at that. Well, that's good because that was really going to drive up everyone else's, that was a free agent. Ohtani got $600 million. We're looking for this, and it may allow and afford the Angels to keep Ohtani right there in Los Angeles, and this guy makes $70 to $100 million just in endorsements. His allegiance to Japan and all those companies that come in. So whatever team ends up with him, they're going to be able to sell their entire outfield wall, advertisements wherever he goes. But at this point, I think that has really driven that price down because he's not going to be available next year.
Right. Well, I tell you what, I'll take a 1/100th of a tenth of that money if that's even making sense to you, and I'll live like that. I'll tear up everything I got up in here. I'll walk around here with no kneecaps to make half of that money. All right, that's what we're gonna do. Hey, Guy, thanks for the updates out there because you are the one and only Guy Newcomb, the scoreboard guy. He's a master. He's an encyclopedia. That's what he is, of knowledge and wealth of knowledge in his brain. Hey, you're listening to Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network inside of the Bambino studio. We're going to take a break, come back, talk about some college football. It's the most wonderful. We'll be right back.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
The Huddle Up, that's right. It takes two to make the thing go right. It's just me and my man Guy here right now inside the Bambino studio on the Missouri Sports Network. It take two to make the thing go right. Yeah, that's that old school hip hop R&B. It takes two to make it out of sight. Yeah, we rubbing it in. Old DA left us hanging today. That's all right. The coach, he'll be back next week. But right now, my man Guy and I, we're holding it down. We're going to jump right into what I consider to be the best time of year when college football kicks off. And we got some local teams that are going to kick off and try to make their season special. I'll tell you who we're going to start with. Evangel's opening up tomorrow. They get top billing on the college segment here. They open up tomorrow at Kansas Wesleyan. And Guy, apparently, not apparently, they changed conferences. So what do you think about that?
They did. They went to KCAC, Kansas City Athletic Conference, and they got out of the conference, the Heart of America Conference, because it's basically become the Heart of Iowa Conference, and it was just too much travel for them. They got into some schools that were a little bit more local for them, but it's going to be a challenging conference as well. Now, Evangel did receive top 25 preseason votes. They did not make the top 25. They were probably, I think they finished 27. But the team that they're playing, I believe they're top 20 team there. So it's going to be a challenging. But Coach Heppel always does such a fantastic job there, and does it with a lot of local kids. Sammy, and his last name is Gabe Smees, their starting running back, was an all-conference player a year ago. He's a Mount Vernon kid. So there's a lot of local kids on there. And every time I've spoken to him, he said, "Hey, we recruit within a tank of gas, because so that we know that those folks and those fans and can get up here and watch them." And they've had a tremendous season after season after season since Coach Heppel has been there, and are always a threat to make the postseason.
Right, great program. Had a lot of history and tradition in that program. Got some individuals that made their way to the NFL from that program. A lot of great athletes come out of there. And then we'll go to my alma mater, where I put my hand in the dirt. Missouri State, the Bears here, we're set to kick it off next Friday at KU, 7 p.m. start, a different day on Friday. But Coach Beard, I mean, I'm getting mixed reviews from what I'm hearing and seeing. We'll see what happens with this offensive line, defensive line, but quarterback position is going to be one we got to keep close eye on. But what are you hearing about the Bears, big fella?
Well, I think that's the biggest elephant in the room is who's going to play quarterback, and are they going to be able to protect them? Yeah. Last year they had an outstanding quarterback transferring from Utah, I believe, transfers in, has a really good start to his season. Then they get, midway through the season, all of a sudden they couldn't protect him. And it just made it a challenge for him. And you're talking about the Missouri Valley Conference, which is the SEC of FCS football. Now they're going to play a KU team that had a decent year a year ago. They're not the KU team of old. This is a pretty good Kansas University football team. And so I'm interested to see what the score is, how they come out. Last year they went down and played Arkansas to open up the season. And in the third quarter, they've got a lead.
Right.
Is that something? And Arkansas is better than Kansas. So we'll see what happens on next Friday night with Coach Beard and the Bears.
Yeah, we'll know relatively quick if that offensive line can hold up or not. Even going up against a Big 12 school, you should be able to hold your own. You shouldn't be just running for your life. So I'm interested to see how it looks. And you can probably check that out on ESPN Plus, I believe. And then the SEC, the big boys, those guys in the middle of the state, the Tigers from Columbia, from Mizzou. The Mizzou Tigers will open up next Thursday against one of our foes here in the Missouri Valley Football Conference, South Dakota. They open up at Thursday at 7 p.m. Next Thursday, the 31st of August. I don't know what Drinkwitz's going to do. What do you think this year? If he doesn't make some noise, forget this game. They should win this game against South Dakota. But if he doesn't make some noise in SEC, there's going to be some rumblings. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think he's got to get to 7 wins this year. And you look at his schedule. South Dakota, that's a game they should win. Middle Tennessee, that's a game they should win. Then they got to go. Then they got to play Kansas State. They're not likely to beat Kansas State. Then they got Memphis, which is a toss-up game. And then they go to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's an SEC team playing on a high school field right now because their facility is being redone. I don't even know how they do that in the SEC. And then they've got LSU. They're not winning that game, and then Kentucky, South Carolina's a toss-up game. Then they got Georgia, who they probably should have beaten last year. Who's going to be? I mean, they're going to be number one coming in, and then they finish with Tennessee and Florida. I don't know that I can find 7 wins.
I can't, because you forgot Arkansas that last game. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't. And I'm telling you what, they're going to get at Memphis. They're playing Memphis up in St. Louis in the Dome. And they got K-State Memphis. They're going to be beat up. The only break they're getting, maybe, and Vanderbilt always plays them tough at home, is Vandy. And I'm just saying that just because Vandy is not a traditional power. But then you got LSU coming in Columbia. Then they got to go to Kentucky. South Carolina is a traditionally tough school to play. I don't care who you are. They're going to have athletes from down south. They're going to play good football. And then you got Georgia, Tennessee, Florida. I'm telling you what, this SEC is the real deal. And Mizzou needs to figure out if they can play with the big boys or they're going to sit on the porch.
Yeah, and it's a Vanderbilt team that beat them last year, 21-14.
Yeah.
That may be that swing game as to whether he has 5 or 6 or 6 or 7 wins, during the season. So we'll find out. It's gonna be interesting from the get go, because South Dakota is not they're not chump change.
No.
Coming out of the Missouri Valley Conference.
No, they're gonna play you tough, and that's gonna be interesting to see how our local teams, how our state teams, how they go. And we'll be following some of the other teams right now. But right now, we wanted to make sure we gave these individuals their attention right now, because there's a lot of other good teams that are going to be playing with Northwest Missouri, always traditional. I want to see what University of Central Missouri is going to do. A lot of good football to be played. And I am excited about Saturday, sitting on this couch, letting my big behind spread and watching USC try to take on San Jose with Caleb Williams. And he's a stud. From what I heard, he said something about maybe skipping in another year.
Yeah, it's it depends on who gets that number one draft pick, and I don't know that it's been decided yet. Obviously, it hasn't, because the season hadn't been played. But if it's a team like the Arizona Cardinals that have really drafted good quarterbacks who just can't play, they get in the league and then just can't protect them either. And he made the comment that he may stay in college for his senior year and forego the NFL draft depending on how the draft falls. And he's making, $2 or $3 million NIL money anyway.
Yeah, right.
So he's not hurting, but it's not NFL money. But it's still enough money to keep him in college. And heck, wouldn't you like to be maybe the reigning Heisman Trophy winner, walking around campus with $2 or $3 million in your pocket and get to? College, that was the best 7 years of my life.
Right. It should have been 4 or 5, but you took the long road. But I know what you mean. But he has to. I think he's playing some type of game, but he has to take the money. One injury, anybody, something happens, and you're going to miss out on a guaranteed $20, $25 million. I don't know what the structure will be next year, but it's going to be interesting to see what they do against San Jose. I think the spread is 30. I'm predicting a big win. And then there's another game, Notre Dame versus Navy, which they're playing in Ireland. So make sure we watch some college football this week. I tell you, because I know, make sure you do, because I know I will. But real quick, let's jump into the NFL. The Chiefs with Chris Jones, it's going to be an issue. So they still got roughly a little bit over 2 weeks. Where are we at before the season starts? A little bit, about 2 weeks. But Chris Jones is still holding out. From what I hear, he might hold out until the 8th week of the season, but he'll lose some money.
Yeah, and he's, obviously with social media the way it is, he's been very boisterous, so to speak, on social media. He came out a couple of days ago and just said, "Hey, right now I'll sit out all the way to week 8. I want this amount of money, and I don't know exactly what the dollars are. I don't know where the in-between is. I don't know what the holdup is. I understand what he's talking about. Right now, he's the 3rd or 4th highest paid defensive end in the league, and he's probably the 2nd best defensive lineman in the league behind Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald makes $34 million a year. Chris Jones, his contract was a 4-year, $80 million deal. I think he wants to get closer to that. And people don't understand, he's not playing on a franchise tag. This is the last year of his contract. And so obviously, because of that, him sitting out, he loses $50,000 every day, and then game checks for every game that he missed. And the game checks are like $1.2 million. So obviously, he's got enough money in the bank to sit out for $8.5, $9 million.
He can, and he's outperformed his contract. And so being an agent, I understand where he's sitting at. He outperformed his contract. And so some people say, well, he signed a contract. Yeah, but if you outperform that contract, then you're going to want to get paid, especially if you're in your last year. Something happens, you get hurt, they're not going to pay you. Well, people say, well, how does that work? Well, if you underperform your contract, they will cut you prior to there's deadlines. But prior to one of those deadlines, they will cut you in what is considered like a split. And you'll get a certain percentage of your contract. Say, for instance, let's just make round numbers. Instead of giving you $20,000, they'll pay you 10. And say, well, hey, we're going to cut our loss with you. What guarantee me that other 20, we're not you. So if you look at it from his standpoint, he's saying, well, I want 20. I want more than 20 because I'm worth more than that, because you have the ability to cut me if I'm not. It's a brutal game. Those guys know how to play it. I'm not feeling sorry for him. He makes a whole heck of a lot of money. He's on par with how much you and DA make. And so I don't see one of y'all playing. Y'all not sitting right here complaining. Just come on into Missouri Sports Network, do your job, and you get your money. I'm the one should be playing under the franchise. I'm kind of mad right now. The more I sit here thinking about it, I think we need to go to commercial break. Hey, you're listening to Huddle Up here on the Missouri Sports Network inside of the Bambino studio. Right back with high school.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get a $500 cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy CyberCash. Visit ChevyCyberCash.com today.
Imagine a bank that goes where you go, creating seamless solutions for every step in your financial journey, allowing you to manage your money the way you want to, with a banking relationship that makes every day extraordinary. Imagine a world full of possibilities, always within reach. Central Bank. We do banking better.
Back everyone to Huddle Up. It's just me and my buddy Guy, DA the coach. He's on a sabbatical. So I'm going to say this. Guy, you're my buddy. You're my buddy wherever I go. He goes, my buddy. My buddy. That's right. My buddy and me. That's what we're doing right here. My buddy and me, my man Guy, the scoreboard guy. We're sitting here right now. We're gonna talk about a little high school athletics. That's what we're gonna do on the final segment. And because this time of the year, you got kids who've been working all summer to go out and compete on this level. And this is what it's all about for them. Some of them are seniors, juniors, sophomores, freshmen, whatever they are. But the seniors, this is their last go around in a lot of high school sports. Guy, tell our listeners what they can go out and support, who they can go out and support, what sports are happening this fall.
Well, right now you got fall volleyball is going on right now on the women's side. There are some men's volleyball, but that typically is in the St. Louis area. It has been accepted by Misha as a sport, but it's not in Southwest Missouri. In the St. Louis area, you can see some men's volleyball. You've got cross country. You've got fall softball, fall baseball. You've got soccer going on as well across the state. You've got tennis and golf going on also. So, and not to mention football. So there's a lot of sports going on in the fall that folks, go out and support your school. I know it's going to be hot tomorrow, but get out there, stay safe, drink a lot of water all day long. And a lot of these events have been pushed back to 8 o'clock, where it's going to be a little bit more health friendly, weather friendly. And a lot of games have been moved, or a lot of matches, especially on the softball side, have been moved all the way to Saturday. And the heat's going to break. We just got to get through Friday and make sure the kids are safe. And I know Misha does an outstanding job taking care of what these weather water bulbs that they take out to the field. And if the humidity gets too high and the heat index gets too high, they pull them off, and that's just mandatory. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to make for a late night tomorrow because a lot of football games starting later all across the state, not just in Southwest Missouri where it's blistering hot, Talked to the Maryville coach earlier today, and they've pushed their game back. Maryville is about as close to Iowa as you can get and still be in Missouri. So lots of action going on tomorrow night. A lot of it's going to be pushed back.
Well, we want to make sure that all our kids are safe. So pushing the games back, it is what it is. If they need to push it back even more, I'm fine with that. I just want all these kids to go out and compete at a high level and be safe and have fun doing it. But in my best Keith Jackson impersonation, and the granddaddy of them all, high school football is happening. I know, scoreboard guy, I know you can't wait. There's some matchups that are kicking off the season that are incredible. They should be playoff games, but they're the first game of the year. And I know Nixa is taking on someone which you are very interested in. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Nixa is going to be taking on a Webb City team. Nixa defeated Webb City a year ago. I believe that was only the second time Nixa had defeated Webb City. The different thing about this game tomorrow night is John Roderick will not be wearing a headset for the Webb City Cardinals. He retired a year ago. Now, he is still remaining as the athletic director, but he retires. Maybe one of the greatest high school football coaches in the state of Missouri history. He's one of the national high school football coaches. But he's still the athletic director, so I guarantee he'll be there. Yeah. I don't think we'll see him on the sideline. But sent him a text and just said, "How you handling this retirement?" And he just said, kind of with a lot of L's.
Yeah, he's not handling it well. He'll be on that sideline, and I'm not really sure if he might not come out of retirement sometime soon. But he's probably liking the AD gig without having to take all of the time and pressure into putting together that game plan. But tell us about some other games of local interest that our viewers and listeners might want to go check out.
Well, Lamar's taking on Marshfield. That's a Big 8 conference game. Lamar, obviously, with their 7 consecutive titles and state titles, they've won 8 out of the last 12, and they've played in 10 of the last 12 state championships, including last year they lost to a good Blair Oaks team. And Blair Oaks, Dylan Hare, who has set every quarterback record in the state of Missouri, only player in the history to go over 10,000 yards passing and 5,000 yards rushing in his career. He is no longer at Blair Oaks. And Blair Oaks opens up with a very good Maryville team. Glendale, Waynesville, that's kind of an interesting matchup because you've got a new coach on the sideline at Glendale. Talked to Joel Heeman, and they're going to continue to use that passing game and use that passing tree that Coach Mock they'd been running it for 9 years, and he wasn't going to come in and try and reinvent the wheel either. Kickapoo is at Hillcrest. Platte County is at Kearney. That's a good Class 5 matchup. You got Liberty and Lee Summit West. So you've got some tremendous matchups across the state here early in the season. Westminster Christian is taking on Ladue. Watkins. I still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, that's Ladue. Has always been, that's their name, but it's always called Ladue.
Yeah. Liberty North, is that Lee Summit North?
Yeah.
Stockton at Maryville, and another big game in the Big 8 is Mount Vernon, who's going to be very good. Maybe have the best quarterback coming back. One of the top 3 quarterbacks anyway coming back in Southwest Missouri, and the Johnston boy. They're going to go to McDonald County, who's been kind of an up-and-coming team. They've got new facilities down there. They've been tremendous. And Harrisonville's an MICDS. But you can follow all of this and keep up to date at Scoreboard Guy and the Missouri Sports Network on Twitter. We'll have the show coming up after the games. And actually, it'll start at 10 o'clock. There may not be some games over with at 10 o'clock with them starting later. But we'll keep you entertained and keep you updated on everything that's going on.
Guy, you are the resident expert when it comes to high school athletics and in particular high school football. And anyone who wants to know anything needs to keep the Missouri Sports Network on redial, or either right there just on your download it. It needs to be right there so you can just get up there and talk to Guy and DA. They'll be out there tomorrow. He'll have some interviews with coaches after the games. He'll have them on live. Man, it's the premier sport network in the state when it comes to collecting information about how the games went and talking to individuals and getting the inside information on what happened and what didn't happen and how those games outcomes were determined. But Big fella. After that, then we watch Saturday, and then Sunday, gotta do what we gotta do. Then Monday comes something that has been going on for almost a century. Yeah. But tell us about the Quarterback Club, how long it's been around, and where it's going to be at this year.
I tell you, it's been around. This is the 8th decade of the Quarterback Club. Started well beyond my birth date. I'm not sure if you were here yet, but I was not here. I've kind of taken over the reins of that since COVID, and we have moved it down to Bambino's Italian Cafe at Lone Pine and Battlefield. You and I went down and visited with Andy. Great guy, tremendous sports fan, local guy, Parkview athlete, and he wanted to be a part of it. And he's got the room right now. He's got a big enough room that will house everything, and the food I know will be tremendous. So we invite you to come down. You can arrive anytime between 11 and 12. They open at 11. Coaches will start speaking around noon. We have 18 different high schools that'll be represented throughout the season. Obviously, they don't all be there on the same every Monday. They kind of rotate in and out. We get a couple Springfield schools. We'll get a couple 3 or 4 area schools. And then we've got the colleges coming in with Evangel, Southwest Baptist University, Missouri State. They come in. Now, the colleges with Missouri State and Evangel, they will be there every Monday. Coach Heppola does not miss. The Evangel head coach. He's been a tremendous supporter of the Quarterback Club the entire time I've been involved. Come down, you'll get fed, and you'll be out of there by 1 o'clock. So hey, come down, join us, and have some great food, great fellowship. Coach Rowe has always been involved with this. You'll see a lot of familiar faces. Talked to Art Haynes the other day, and he's going to try and make it to a couple of these. He has, obviously, with the transportation is his issue, but he's going to be there at a few of these as well. And you've got Tom Mass, who's a local guy. He's there. Corey Riggs, Don West, and then a lot of just football fans that have been fans for a long time and they know what they're talking about. But it's basically to hear the coaches, let them talk about their kids, what they had on the previous weekend, and what they've got coming up and what they're going to have to do to win.
Yeah, and I just got a text message that I need to make sure we talk about Southwest Baptist, because the Bearcats open up September 2nd at Oklahoma Panhandle State. And so we'll be definitely watching them and see how this year turns out for them. And they're being in your backyard there, buddy. So we'll definitely be making sure we find our way over there to check them out. But Guy, hey man, I'm excited. I don't know what to say. This is my time of year. I don't know whoever else likes whatever time, but college football brings in so much excitement, so much energy that I don't think there's anything that rivals it. Maybe a March Madness Thursday, Friday, kind of. You get a couple of hours of excitement. But right now, I am revved up and I am ready to go. And I want you to know that you're my buddy, and it just takes 2 of us. And just the 2 of us, we can make it if we try. We made it through another episode of Huddle Up. We appreciate you out there in Missouri Sports Network land. Don't forget to tune in tomorrow to the Scoreboard Guy and High School Football Report here on the Missouri Sports Network. Hey, thank you. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week, my buddy.
This has been a presentation of the Missouri Sports Network. Thank you for tuning in.